Hi, everyone. Welcome to Business is Politics. Joseph Lavoie here, and I'm still on the road today in Toronto. I'm about to go on stage to give a talk on regulatory changes in a specific sector. But let's pick things up where we left them off yesterday. I'm experimenting with a new framework for multinational brands, navigating complex political and regulatory landscapes. We've already covered off the first 3 of 8 powers that the most successful brands use to gain a regulatory advantage. So we've talked about regulatory foresight, we've talked about government engagement, and we've talked about the power of compliance leadership. Next up, the power of advocacy influence with a specific eye to citizen engagement, sort of as a sub theme to this. So, advocacy influence. Effectively, I define this as advocating for favorable regulatory conditions through strategic lobbying efforts, strategically engaging and mobilizing citizens to advocate for regulatory change that align with a company's interests. By engaging in responsible lobbying, companies can influence legislation and regulations in ways that support their business models while aligning with public interests. And this power requires ethical practices, transparency to maintain legitimacy. And increasingly, it involves mobilizing authentic citizen voices to be truly effective. Now, developing well-researched policy positions, building coalitions to amplify the company's voice, engaging with policymakers to present constructive solutions to industry challenges. These are all things that take a lot of work, and it's why some of the most successful brands invest in this. Now, the brands that do this well have created, I think, one hell of a moat. And that's because building genuine relationships with communities and fostering active citizen engagement participation requires significant effort, a lot of trust, and a lot of authenticity, which makes it difficult for competitors to replicate it pretty quickly. I've been using Apple all week long as an example. Let's continue with Apple. It engages in strategic advocacy and lobbying to shape favorable regulatory conditions. No shock to discover, of course, that it's got pretty sizable expenditures on this front. It invests significantly in lobbying efforts, particularly in the US and the EU, on issues like intellectual property, taxation, and trade policies. It also advocates for strong encryption and data privacy laws, which, done well, aligns it with the regulatory environments that it operates in and is consistent with its commitment to user privacy. It also maintains transparency in its lobbying activities, which ultimately helps it preserve its reputation while influencing policy. I think we can all agree that Apple continues to have a very strong brand for itself, even though it invests a lot in lobbying. And of course, companies like Mozilla and Reddit have in the past mobilized users to advocate for net neutrality, influencing regulatory bodies to maintain an open internet, which then benefits their business models. So, effective advocacy. It enables companies to shape regulations in ways that support their business models. It reduces operational risks and it creates favorable business environments for them. So there we are. Next up, we'll have the power of coalition building and getting sector alignment. Talk then.